Hey guys, Tails here, back with another video. Now on the day of recording this, I have just spent a very nice Easter with my family, and having the Easter experience with my family has kind of inspired this video. It's not even Easter related, it's just the family get together, and basically what happened is my family, the rest of my family, tried out VR for the first time, and it kind of took me back to my first time trying VR, which was like 2 years ago now. I thought it would make for an interesting video, and I can also talk about my setup a little bit and what I'm running. I am currently running an Index, and I have obviously the full body tracking for that. I have 4 sensors in my room because we have 2 people using headsets in my house, so that's convenient. This is why I get such crazy tracking ability no matter where I go. Right now I can pretty much sit anywhere in the room. Like, it's a living room, no TV, couch. It has a double function. Right now I'm sitting on the couch in front of the TV. My computer is like over there, and then there's other computer setups behind me. I just tapped my hand on a speaker that's directly behind. Basically, I have sensors here, 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 and over here. So like literally every corner of the room. So unless I step out of view of a sensor, which is hard to do, or the TV reflections can also mess with the sensors, I pretty much get decent tracking no matter where I go, but I'm still tethered to a cord, which is a good thing because then I don't go punching televisions and stuff, which, you know, is not a goal. That's not what we want to do here. So yeah, I'm not just going extra. We actually just have 2 indexes in the house and 4 sensors. And of course, if you do want to go full body tracking, you want to go hardcore, I would highly recommend the 4 sensors because amazing tracking. That, you know, you still get the jittery. It's never going to be perfect. I mean, we're still early days in tracking here. Like, we're not expecting gold, but it's so good having the 4 sensors. And of course, when one of them dies, we have 3 backup, and you're not just stuck with 1 sensor. That's nice. We've actually had 2 sensors, I believe, go out since we bought them. Sensors, unfortunately, do not last forever. We've had them for about 2 years, and of course, they're constantly running, moving parts. Touch wood, it's going to be a little bit before our sensors go out again. When the Index first came out, we got the first headset, and then mine was around 2020, because I remember I had to wait like 6 months to get mine, which sucked. I was using the first ever headset before that, which I forgot the name of now. But I was using that, and then the controller and drifting, and you know, it was just time for an upgrade, so I got the Index. And basically, yeah, we've lost 2 since it started, and 1 was from the old headset, and I think 1 was from mine, but fortunately mine was still under warranty, so we got 1 sent for free. But of course the warranty has expired now, so when these start dying, I'm gonna have to start forking out the cash, unfortunately. I don't think the first one was under warranty, but it's definitely not 2020 because we unfortunately lost our sensors during 2020. So, well, one of them. So, you know, we had to wait for them to send that out. And of course, you know, there was nothing, like, there was no supply of anything. So we had to wait even longer for them to send it out. And fortunately, we still had the other 3 up and running. So that was cool. But yeah, red light of death on your sensor. Never a fun time. I would definitely recommend the 4 if you want to go for that nice tracking. Now, I mean, that's not like the craziest setup. There's people who do crazier stuff than that, have like 20 million sensors just hanging out and stuff. We're not that hardcore. But yeah, anyway, watching them in their first VR experience, and they're just like blown away just by standing in a room and being like, oh my god, it's right here in front of me. And then there's me in VR, you know, they're still they were teleporting around like day 1 VR, picking stuff up, and just seeing them be so amazed by it. And then I've just become so accustomed to it. I'm just sitting here in a log cabin, and I can run around and like pretty much go on roller coasters and stuff. Maybe not the crazy ones, but you know, like VRChat roller coasters, and maybe just do 1 and then call it good. Like that Pandora. It's not called Pandora. I don't think it's called Pandora. It's called something else. But it's basically level in VRChat where you sit. I want to do a video on it, so I don't want to like spoil it or anything. Like, it's a plan. I don't know how I would do a video on it, but basically it's like Soarin' in Disney except in VR, and you basically sit in this seat and fly around the world, and there's stuff happening. And yeah, that would be cool. But you know, I can do stuff like that. They can't. They're like day 1. And it's just amazing how accustomed you come to it, and you forget how amazing all this stuff is in VR and just what we're doing. VRChat, you can literally do anything and go anywhere, play any game. Like they're there playing Beat Saber and just all these games. And I'm like, VRChat, I can play Beat Saber in VRChat. Like, I'm sure Beat Saber is better outside of VRChat, you know, much in VRChat. But anyway, my first VR experience, I got that VR motion sickness going on. So I couldn't be in a headset for more than 2 minutes without wanting to die, like sweaty, just feeling all kinds of sick. And I was in those games, you know, we just stand there and pick stuff up and move it around. It took me a good week, and then I would still feel sick playing video games, but I would force myself to play VRChat. We've gone through this before, okay? I go big or I go home. It's like, nah, I don't want to play those tutorial games. I'm already into VRChat. I want to play VRChat in VR. So basically, I would put on the headset, go spend 20 minutes in a world that I knew wouldn't lag too much, and then get out of it, and then go back to desktop and go hang out with friends, and then 20 minutes, take a break, come back 20 minutes, take a break. Each time feeling like shit, sometimes just sitting on the floor wanting to cool down and feel better, nauseous as hell. But, you know, you gotta like condition yourself, and now I can just basically pretty much do anything in VR. I don't know about a crazy roller coaster, but like a simulator ride, I would mostly be fine. But yeah, when I first got into VR, I couldn't be in it for more than 5 minutes, and I would literally force myself to go. I would start off in this one world that I knew was decent, and then I purposely went to laggy worlds so I would become accustomed. So I was like straight hardcore going into this, like not baby levels, and then going to this like low world with like one tree that's 3 polys. Now I'm like, yo, the world I went to, I want to say I would hang out in the Kitten Marsh Band world for a bit because, you know, that's home. But then I would go to the bar Clover and Cherry. Now if you've never been to a Clover and Cherry world, they're kind of not old VRChat, but earlier VRChat when you needed a good computer to run the worlds, and even if you had a good computer, they were still laggy. So I would go to these worlds in VR with VR sickness, purposely sit there, walk around and run around as much as I could, going all in for like 20 minutes, get out. So yeah, I didn't exactly have the healthiest method of getting through my VR sickness. Would not recommend. But after doing that, I was pretty much VRChat ready within like 3 weeks as opposed to like 2 months. Like, you know, you're supposed to ease into this. Don't play walking around games on your first day. First couple of tries, I was doing the tutorial. But after like literally 5 times doing that, maybe less, maybe 3. I can remember doing 3. I was bored. I'm like, you know what? Okay, we're going into VRChat. Started out running, not even using the teleport, just running around, forcing myself to get used to this. And yeah, obviously here we are. Now I can just run around, derp around, and pretty much do anything. But yeah, I did get the VR sickness before, and you can overcome it. I don't really get hit by it now, only if I do just anything that anybody would, like if I was doing excessive like motion worlds, like again a roller coaster, and I was doing it for a long period of time, or occasionally if I'm in a laggy world and I've been in there for a while, sometimes it can, but then I just like push through it for the most part and deal. Also, that's a bad thing to do, by the way. It's never bad. Like, it's a mild one when I'm pushing through it. But if you ever get VR sickness, do not try to push through it, because if you do, it will just get worse. So I would go to a point where I'm like, okay, I might throw up. Like, I'm not about that life. So I would get out the headset when it became to that point. But the longer you stay in VR with VR sickness, the longer you're in, the worse it gets. It does not go away. It doesn't just, or you don't overcome it. You're just gonna get worse. The second you start to feel like nauseous, take off the headset. Don't try to push through. It's not gonna go away. You have to gradually increase your time. Again, my method would not recommend, but it's how I personally am special, okay? The way I do things is not how you should do things. I just tend to go big or go home. We've been through this. I'm not the smartest. My method worked somehow, but I would not recommend. Definitely start out with your tutorials when you're first getting into VR, and use the teleport system. VRChat, make sure you're in non-laggy worlds. If you have lag, obviously it's going to make it like 20 times worse. And if you're feeling that sickness, get out. Just get out. Like, even in this world right now, with my camera going and my headset and my tracking, it is lagging me a bit, and I can kind of feel it in my stomach a little bit, but it's nothing crazy. I can see my frames are struggling, but I know that hopefully the recording is coming out fine, so I'm just pushing through it on this one. But yeah, it does still get to me a little bit. This is a world that I would come to and be like, fine, and then be like, okay, time to get out, and then move on to the next one, because yeah, I'm not about the VR sickness life. This is one of the things that put me off wanting to try headsets and virtual reality, because I had tried it once before and it did make me feel so crappy. But then I tried it again a few months later and I was like, you know what, we're gonna push through this. I wanna try and get good at VR. How do you get good at VR? I want to try, and if I wanted to get into VR, so I got into VR and went about it all the wrong way, and it just kind of worked out. Would not recommend. Ease into it. Do not go crazy. Yeah, never kind of really looked back to desktop. The only reason I use desktop now is if VRChat logs me out, because basically trying to type anything in VR is just pain. And then I have the two-step on anyway, so you know, I gotta check my cell phone anyway. It's just easier to type, then leave, and then log back in the headset. It's pretty much the only reason I use desktop, or if I'm testing an avatar. Never really looked back. Once you're in VR, you don't go back. VRChat in VR is definitely time, but I did get plenty out of it in desktop. You don't necessarily need VR to enjoy VRChat. See, I was never in too much of a rush to get into VR, because I was perfectly content in my desktop and perfectly fine on VRChat. But you know, VR life, once you go in, you never go back. I spent all this money. I'm going in. So yeah, that's basically my VR journey. It's a pretty small story, nothing too epic. I mean, it's just me putting on a headset, and that's how I got in VR. Yep, got pushed into it, and I'm pretty content with this life now. I can just vibe and go to any world, sit and look around. One of my family members actually described it as basically just stepping into another world. She's like, I can see why people get into this. Like, once you step into this world and you enter another world, like, why would you want to leave? I'm like, okay, well, that's a red flag for you. If you're gonna get a head, they already bought it. They were already trying to get all the information to buy a headset after trying that. But maybe don't let it. Like, maybe still stay in reality. I mean, VRChat is nice, and living in the virtual world is probably better than your real life, but maybe don't. Probably not the healthiest outlook to have when it's your first time in VR. Like, why would you want to leave? Like, oh, can I buy a headset? Like, okay, whoa, slow down. There's still life to be had beyond VR. There's still limitations, like, it's cool. But again, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, it's not that it grows old, you just kind of get used to it. It's just like, it's weird. It's not like it becomes like a norm where you're like, yep, this is my life now. But it just becomes another life. The fascination wears off, like with anything, like, you know, and you just become accustomed to it. And you just kind of forget how cool it is to be able to sit in a world and look around and be like, oh my god, and oh, look. My leg moves, and my hands, and you just see the first time VRs, and you're like, yeah, it's pretty cool. We've come a long way, especially since day one of VRChat, and not just in VRChat, VR in general, obviously, and there's a whole lot coming. But for now, like, yeah, it is kind of cool to be able to just sit in a world and look around, actually physically talk to friends, turn your head. The only downside I would say to it is in the index, well, in any of the headsets, is your field of view currently it's like being a horse in one of those like thingies, and you can only look and not look one way, but it's like you can see the sides of your headset, so it's not like you're fully immersed. Like you always have that in the corner of your view. Obviously you just kind of forget about it, but you know, it's always there, so it's not like a full immersion, not like 360 chameleon in this biznatch. I need to stop saying that. Why is this becoming my vocabulary? Please stop. It becomes, yeah, not a chameleon. The same family member who was talking about like getting addicted to VR took a tour of like Venice, and she was just standing there like completely enamored, and she was just literally standing there, and seeing that was cool. Like, just not in a mystical, oh my god way, but you know, just being reminded of like, hey, you know, the magical time in VR for your first time. It's like baby's first walk. Okay, so that reminds me too, is my family who bought the headset, they have kids, and you know what kids are like. Basically this analogy came around in my household, and I think it's a pretty good analogy. I had these biscuits, for those who are American, they're cookies but not cookies. They're from England, they're Bourneville biscuits, and I bought them over from England, and I had some sitting out on the table. I walked away and came back and they were gone, and a child had eaten them. And I'm just like, yo, not everything in this house that the light touches is yours, okay? Don't go after this. So basically our analogy for anything now for kids is, you know, pretty much everything the light touches they think is theirs. And we're trying to tell our family members are going to be moving in on that, like, Simba, you need to be Mufasa in this bitch, and just tell them that, you know, not everything the light touches is yours. Maybe don't let your like young kids play with the headset. I don't think they would let them because it's expensive, and obviously young kids are not so. We'll not get into that. Young kids play VRChat because parents aren't paying attention. Cute little cuddly creatures. Can't be anything bad here, right? Public world, yay! Yes, I've seen it, sadly. But you know, as long as they're having fun. Usually, if there's a small child in the lobby, obviously people are aware, so they'll be hopefully a little bit more thinking about what they're talking about and not weirdos. But I still would not let a small child loose in this game alone or ever. But yeah, it's not just about this game, just like ever. I would not let a kid use a headset. 1, they're expensive. 2, they're expensive. And 3, it's not really good for their like developing eyes to be staring at a screen and stuff. That's what the kids do these days. Gen Z, I know. That's all they do is stare at screens. But I mean like stare at a screen that's this close, and obviously the lenses are not that great yet in the technology we have currently out, so it can actually be damaging to your eyes if they're developing and you're sitting in a headset for hours. Like, go figure. Even I feel it in my eyes after sitting in a headset for hours, and I'm old, so yeah, I wouldn't let your kids necessarily play this. Like, trying it out, fine, every so often, fine, but it's not an everyday thing. And I definitely would not, you know, let a young child near anything that costs over like, I'm gonna be stingy and say $50. Okay, maybe raise the bar a little, $100. But obviously a headset is more than $100, and if you break one of those controllers because you dropped it on your tile floor, well, like, rip. Because I don't know how much a new controller costs on the Quest, but I know with the Index it's like $100 plus easy. So yeah, I really would not recommend for small children, unless of course you're loaded and you blow your nose. I was gonna say something else, but it's not really, it's crude. If you blow your nose with $100 bills on the daily, then sure. And you want your kid to shut up, and you're rich, and you're never home anyway, and you don't care. That's bad. Buy your kids a headset, but monitor it. Is that okay? Okay. Is that good? Is that the friendly YouTuber way of saying it? Cheesy smile? Like, I don't know. Karen, watch your kids. Stop blaming the internet for everything, okay? Moving on. Yes, headsets. Headsets are cool. I would recommend. Hashtag not sponsored by Index. Yet. No, never gonna happen. But if you ever find yourself with a kid, please carry this analogy forward because I think it's fantastic. Not everything the light touches is yours, Simba. Move along. It's just like, it's not all gonna be yours one day. Like, we're not trying to be the Lion King out here, okay? You got your stuff, we got our stuff. You're not necessarily gonna inherit these headsets one day. We're probably gonna sell them and buy better ones. Sorry about you. Get some of the money back. Headsets ain't cheap. So I don't really have anything else to say or to add to this topic right now. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks as always for all the support, all the likes, all the comments. Loving the support. Thanks for the views, the comments, everything. The growth continues to happen and continues to blow me away. So thank you everybody for all the support. Hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about nothing. We flew kites today. Easter, bunny rabbits. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Good boy. Okay, so something that just happened that would be fun to add to this video. I have OVR Toolkit, which means I have the clock on the back of my hand. So, talking about immersion in VR real quick. I constantly will look at the back of my hand to check the time. And on occasion, I will look under the headset and look at my actual hand to check the time. Like, I don't know why that happens way too often. I will, instead of looking at my hand in game, I will look under my headset to check the time and look at my hand. I'm like, your hand is not a clock in real life. It's just that's something fun that I do every so often. Yay, immersion. Gotta love it. Healthier, right? Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Hey, Mr. Mystery, tell me your intention.